In this lesson, I'm going to show you what this layer mask or vector mask button does. So first off, I'm going to turn off or make invisible our 3 layers in the top, and we're just going to be working on this background image. So to add a layer mask, you can select that image or layer and click the layer mask, or you can just drag one of the layers into that layer mask button. Nothing happened, except we have this white sort of mask or this white box down here. So what this is saying basically is that this is a representation of this image or this canvas or layer. And wherever there's white, you will see this image. Wherever there's black, you will actually, it will be transparent or disappear. So how do we turn this black? We're going to use a tool called the brush tool. So you can press B on your keyboard or click this brush tool and click brush. If you hover over your canvas, you can see it turns into this little circle. You can change the size of your brush up here and also the hardness, which means like the edge, if you want it to be a sort of a sharp edge or a softer feathered edge, you can do that. We'll go into this in more depth in the future, but we also have the color selected down here of our brush. So right now it's black. And so remember what I said, if we paint on black to this layer mask, make sure the layer mask is selected and not the image itself, it's going to actually make the background transparent or the layer transparent. If we paint on white, which you can easily do by clicking this little arrow, double arrow button right here for our color selector. And now we have a white brush. And if we paint on here, it paints back. Now make sure this mode is set to normal. For me, it was set to darken, which wasn't allowing me to paint the white on. So make sure that's set to normal when you get started with this. But you can see that now I can paint on. So this is one way to kind of mask out or paint off parts of an image. The benefit of this, doing it this way, is that you can always undo this by painting back on, right? A keyboard shortcut to remember is X on your keyboard, just X itself, and that swaps between these two colors right here, black and white. Now, there might be times where you're painting on and it doesn't look right. That might be because the color is like a gray or a blue or something. And you can see if we're at gray, it's kind of a transparent. You can still kind of see it in the background. And that's because I had it about halfway between pure white and pure black. And that's going to show in the vector mask or the layer mask as about half transparent. There's other brush things up here. We can turn the smoothing up or down. Smoothing will try to make your brush strokes a little bit smoother. Flow and opacity up here will also decrease sort of the opacity. So if you want to have like a lighter, in some sort of sense, brush stroke where you're brushing on multiple times instead of just one fell swoop of white, but just you want to paint it on or off, that's what this opacity and flow will do as well. So typically though, I'll just leave it at 100% opacity and 100% flow. So this, as I mentioned, is good because there's other ways to get rid of parts of an image. So say, let's actually just duplicate this layer. Right-click duplicate, or you can just drag it into this new item button. I'm going to right-click the layer mask and choose this delete layer mask, so I just have my object. What a lot of beginners do is take our eraser button. So if you press E on your keyboard or you go to this eraser tool, you say, oh, I'm just going to erase. And here's an example where your layer isn't editable because it's a smart object and not a rasterized object, if you remember me talking about that in a previous lesson. So we're going to right-click that layer and choose rasterize layer. And now it's editable with our eraser. So we're going to make this bigger. And let's turn off our background so that we can see what we're erasing. So say we're erasing this. Okay, so we're erasing the sky. This is a very bad erasing of the sky. Ooh, that's way too big. Something like this. So now that's erased, but how do we get it back? We can undo all that, but it completely undoes everything. So using layer masks is a great way to just get rid of parts of an image while also having the ability to bring it back. We'll be using this feature in future lessons, more practical lessons, but now you know where it is. It's that button down here, layer mask. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.